the biggest effort they're capable of doing.
Mark Cavendish then bringing it home and just getting the drive to the line. I imagine that he's in such a he's in such a good place at the moment, mind you. A bit of tetchiness being displayed yesterday. Did pick himself up a fine as well, not for the tetchiness, but for drafting back after busy sharing his thoughts. However, it would be lovely to have a word with him about the course, and you know, when he's on the rollers, it's almost an ideal time, provided you can get close and takes his time as well. Just say thank you very much to everybody. 45.5 kilometers per hour as an average with a 33.21. That's our benchmark. He didn't get tagged by Mikkel Mørkøv. Mikkel will be along in about 30 seconds time, I imagine. They're going off at minute margins, by the way. Those are extended a little bit later on into 2-minute, turned into 2-minute margins by the time we get to our final riders off the ramp. Biniam Girmay, just one of the many stories, Sean, that we've loved telling in this amazing tour so far.
Well, it's been an amazing tour for Girmay here, and we can see him in the green jersey. He is really, you know, focused on that now, and we see since he's got his stage win, he's been really, you know, getting up there on the sprint side to get the maximum best out of it, and that gives him the green jersey. Although he has a lot of, you know, big contenders behind him. Mats Pedersen, you know, a very bad injury 2 days ago in that sprint where he came down heavily, but still very much in there. And yesterday we see him taking some very valuable points for that green jersey classification. And then you go down, you know, Philipsen is still in there, Coquard, they're all very, very close. He's going to have a big fight here, you know, to try and win this green jersey outright at the end of the race. But he's on the road to doing it, and, you know, looking really good there. And he's going to get through this time trial as well, you know, not putting 100% effort in, because he knows he's not going to get into the points up for grabs in the green jersey classification. So, you know, just think of the days to come and spare your energy.
At the first intermediate, Varenschol was running in 4th place. I believe he's been through the second, and he's down in 14th. This is a ride through, Sean.
Yes, well, we'll see now that it is a ride through, and it was looking very like that when we see the first intermediate checkpoint. Yeah, it's a surprise. I thought he would give it a go here, considering the time trial quality he's got. The parkour as well is the one which, you know, should really suit him. Nothing majorly hilly wise, you know, no steep gradients, where sometimes in these time trials they throw in maybe, you know, through the parkour there's a climb. It can go, you know, up to 12+%, and that is a difficult one for those guys. Or the run up to the finish can be the final 2 or 3 kilometers, you know, a very steep climb. So this was a parkour that would be suiting, but he's not putting in the effort here, and yeah, it's an interesting one that he's not.
No, he's not, and I think it is because he's been on duty for Alexander Kristoff, who's been getting very close, to be honest. So you can understand to a certain degree that he's clearly got a job to do, and today is not that day. Here's Arnaud Démare. Used to be a very, very high quality young time trialist. In fact, I think he was junior national, I think. He's been it's nice to have him on board, and it's nice to be able to mention his names when indeed we get to the fast days, and he's been sort of solidly hovering around that sort of 6th, 7th place as we've come to our fast days. In the autumn of his career, Arnaud Démare, but he's actually well supported within that team. The likes of Dan McClay went off very early today, Luca Mozzato and Amaury Capillo. Okay, and B&B still believe in him, but they had their own success within the team, of course, with Vokala, Kev, at the beginning, as they call him, on stage 2 of this year's race. So it's not all pressure on, indeed, Démare. Seeing the green jersey just a few moments ago as Ballerini comes in. And you saw as well when he got to some of the technical sections that Biniam Girmay was taking on there. It wasn't actually fully dialed in, but that's because he's got other duties. And indeed, the green points jersey was never something that was going to be tested today. That will come, naturally enough, tomorrow and indeed beyond. Ballerini is our new benchmark, Sean, with a 32.39. He's nudged into the 46s kilometres per hour average.
Yes, and there was probably a little bit of a joke in the bus earlier on before the start, you know, who was going to be the best one at the end of the day, because they all starting off in the very early riders of this time trial. Yeah, so Ballerini is the best one there, so there will be a little bit of, you know, a little bit of a talk about that back in the bus between the riders, and you know, it's of no consequence at all at the end of the day, but still between the riders, that will definitely be, you know, talked about.
Well, Fedorov here does great things as a junior, but right now he's almost ambling home here, Sean. And Ballerini, I was actually wondering whether the team have said, look, just hang back a bit if you don't want the hot seat. And he comes in behind his Aston Villa teammate Ballerini. That wasn't fully committed, Sean.
No, I think as a lot of the riders out here on the route, early starters, it's going to be the situation where, you know, they're not really focused at all there. They just want to get this stage done with and get back and rest.
Just one question, Mark, in relation to how you pace an effort like this. You've got to get inside the time limit as well, but you also want to save a bit for the...
Actually, we did a time trial on Tour de Suisse 2 weeks ago, and he started a minute ahead of me, and I went full. I was like, had the fastest intermediate time check for a long time, because I was like, I'm going to catch you. Then we finished up a climb, and he's on one of the hairpins. He's seen me. Thank you so much. And he seen me and he went full gas, and I blew up. And then today he was like, I'm going to catch her. Like, you know, it's like everyone who does like club time trials back in the UK know exactly what it's like. You've got your minute man, it's a friend of you, you're trying to catch. So we just did the same, but it's about trying to get through today. I just saw with the time trials last year, they're going so fast that the time trial used to kind of be a rest day, you know, for everyone who wasn't going for it. Rest days, a bit strange to it, but it was you could just do your pace, get through it. Now I was sat home watching the time trials last year. I was like, you gotta go full gas just to make the time limit now. So yeah, it was like it was a nice little time trial, beautiful place actually.
Yeah, looks like you enjoyed yourself.
Well, that might be stretching, but it's nice to get the day over. You know, I can go and spend the afternoon with Pete and the kids now.
So cheers, Mark.
Thank you.
Well, at peace with himself, if not at peace with a couple of says yesterday, but yeah, he did what he had to do, Sean, and that was a bit more of an effort perhaps than many people at home would realise. You have to be ever mindful of time cut-offs, and of course he's got his inter-team rivalry as well, as he mentioned.
Well, it's just as we were talking about between the team Astana there was a little bit of a, you know, a battle going on, who was going to be the best. I'll try and catch him, and it's all, you know, just, you know, a bit of fun really, but at the end of the day, you know, you have to go out in this time trial and push on, because, you know, Cavendish, of course, in the time trials, the rate they are going now, the big guys who are the super time trials, the guys who are battling for the GC, and they are super time trials, most of them. You have to push on in the time trial, and you know, Cavendish there had to dig in and really, you know, suffer a little bit. But again, it's not like a day where you're in the mountains and you have to suffer for, you know, 3 or 4 hours. So it's, you know, a short, pretty violent effort, but then you can relax for the rest of the day. And all of that, you know, it's a big advantage when you look at what the other men have to do who are off. You know, in the last 20, 25 riders of this TT this evening, they have to hang around all day. They have to do the ride in the morning. You have to sit back and just, you know, keep your focus and, you know, concentrate on what's coming up a number of hours later on in the afternoon. Then start your warm up on the turbo trainers, which you will see a lot of them at the team buses later on this afternoon. All of that, you know, just that's the fatigue building, not alone the effort they have to put in the time trial itself. So for the likes of Mark Cavendish and the guys, you know, who haven't to fight really for anything here today, it's a little bit easier for them.
Lenny Martinez, I think, with a point to prove that he's still very much part of this race, despite the fact he is so far down the order. And indeed, he trims just about a minute off it, 58 seconds trim. He's nudging up towards the 48 kilometres per hour, which over this kind of distance is actually quite a pace, quite frankly. Look at the way he leant into that corner. It's a good job he'd raised the inner pedal. I think back wheel just kicked out, almost high-sided him then. And as we go to the high side, it's time to welcome Danny Rowe back into the commentary position. Been busy, Danny. Time trialling is busy as well, and it seems, as Mark Cavendish was saying, that you can't really just amble around it these days. You have to keep your focus.
Yeah, of course you do, and I mean, they go so fast, don't they? But I personally love a time trial. I love picking it all apart and looking at the intricacies of a time trial and really what goes into making a pure time trial specialist, and the investment that has to be made on the time trial bike, not only throughout the season but in the winter as well, and everything that goes on behind the scenes with these marginal gains that we've all been talking about with the equipment and the advancements of technology.
Turbo is about to come off the ramp. Luke Durbridge. Now, this was very much his game in the past, Sean. He has other duties within a team, but I imagine if he gets the taste for today, it's a course that could well have suited him in the past, maybe today as well.
Well, it's definitely a course that suits him. Is he motivated? Is he up for this time trial that we will see in the next number of kilometres? And, you know, a team that have a job to do as well with their sprinter Groenewegen. So it will be an interesting one to see. Will he invest, you know, put a big effort in here? Sometimes you say no, they're not going to do it, and then they're out here on the time trial, and you see after a number of kilometres they're going to super fast rates. So the next number of minutes and the first intermediate checkpoint will give us that answer.
I was a bit surprised, to be honest, Danny, that we didn't get a camera on Yves Lampard. I know that he missed the Nationals because of a crash, unfortunately, but he's somebody as well that on a course such as this, in his heyday, in his fully fit day, it would have suited him. I'm hoping he bounces back today.
Yeah, I think so too. We actually spoke about him in the breakaway earlier today, and we had a really nice interview from him as well. So again, that's what makes it interesting, the team's strategies and who they're going to let, you know, have that freedom in the time trial and what they're looking at the days ahead. We've got a pretty tough day tomorrow, very undulating and quite a stressful day as well, with really small narrow roads. So again, it is the bigger picture here and how these teams will come into this Tour de France and which riders will be targeting a day like today.
Well, let's find out, shall we? Certainly our benchmarks at the beginning have kind of befuddled us. Fred Wright, we've got a number of Brits who are stamping on the pedals today. Fred's one of those, Danny.
Yeah, of course he is, and he could do a good one here as well.
Good.
He is a strong time trialist. He's produced some good time trials in the past. He was second in the Commonwealth Games in the time trial discipline. So I hope Fred is given the freedom today. I'm sure he would be, and you can see the intent of this effort so far. He's on the climb, and this is the key part of the time trial for me. He's just approaching that now, and the riders will go somewhat over the red line on the climb to try and use that to their best advantage and use the downhill for that kind of recovery that we're looking at before the flat run into the finish.
I don't know how much time trialling you got in when you were a youngster, Sean, because your success came very quickly to you. But Yves Lampard, we're just riding with him right now, looking handy. Mark Cavendish saying that it's very much a club activity, and of course with the difficulty in closing roads, you often see a time trial going on some of the A-class roads around with traffic still around you. It's the way that many riders introduce themselves to the discipline, isn't it?
Well, I think for the Brits, yes, but outside of that, no. And I remember back in my time...
Is this potholes? Are you going to bring that up again?
In my time, no, nothing to do with potholes, Carrington. In my time when I started out racing, I never did any time trials. It was just road racing. But, you know, in Britain here, you have time trials, and there is time trials, not as much as they were 20 years ago, but still, there is quite a lot. They just time trial all year. They never ride a road race. And you talk to the riders over in Europe, and you say, yeah, there's this... competition that goes on, time trials only, and British riders, they ride them all year and they say, how is it possible? They must be crazy.
Well, it's true. Danny, were you out there on the road in the rain?
So there must be a lot of crazies.
Yes, I was, and I
There we
am
are.
one of
We
those
just found
crazy
one.
people that Sean is alluding to here. And it's so popular in the UK. The Club 10 mile time trials, your local Club 10.
Yep.
Who's got the record on that course? And it's something that is, yeah, again, so popular between club riders especially. But it was something that we used a lot for training because it meant we could ride on closed roads, of course, and we could tailor our training specifically to that course, whether we were going all out for the 10 or the 25 mile course that we would be riding to, or actually were we going to be doing different efforts throughout the course, intervals. It just meant we didn't have to, worry about the traffic somewhat, because they were all done on dual carriageways, generally out and back, with only one roundabout to have to worry about.
Yeah, well, I've seen them go up and down the A11 up in Norfolk just almost constantly, with the traffic still active.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
The time trials in the UK here, up and down the motorway, traffic, trucks going by, and you're getting, that flush of wind from the truck to, push you on a bit more. And, time trialists here in the UK over the years, like, doing unbelievable average speeds, and they go over to the, mainland Europe, and then they go into a race, for example, and, they weren't at it at all. And that just tells, these fast courses, a little bit of aid from the trucks and the traffic going down the lane beside you, or I think sometimes actually they were in between two lanes of traffic going down the motorways. It was just crazy stuff.
There used to be a 3-lane highways with the middle lane was dedicated only for overtaking, and sometimes they used to cone it off and use it for cycling, and you just had to hope that everyone had got the message that the overtaking lane in the middle was closed. This is a bit fetching, I must admit. I mean, if you've got a quarry, a box of chalk, taking pavement art to an entirely new level. I'll see if I've got anything on that in a moment, but that was a fantastic homage, I must admit. I don't quite know what to. But Yves Lampard, 6 seconds down at the first intermediate to Marijn van der Berg, who holds that just for now. It's starting to liven up this, Sean.
Yes, it's starting to, simmer a little bit, but it's going to be simmering for a long time before we see the real big stuff coming out. And Lampard, he's not either interested in this one. He's just getting around here, and we see Fred Wright there as well. You could see the way he was riding the climb, not going for it either, and not surprising because they have better opportunities here, and you go out there and you give it your all, and you just burn yourself all through the time trial, and you finish maybe 8th or 12th best, and what does that give you, where the opportunities are a Fred Wright. For a Lampard, for example, he have a lot of work to do for Remco Evenepoel later in this race. So those guys are just getting through this time trial, as there are so many.
Contrary to that there, Sean, though, I don't think it would take a huge amount out of these riders, half an hour effort at most. And actually, within a Tour de France, they don't want to come off the gas too much, because in my opinion and through my experience as a bike rider, even on a rest day, you would be taking on efforts to make sure your body's not going into almost recovery mode. So I don't think it will take too much out of these riders going full gas versus even just trying to make the time cut.
Bit lively. What those time cuts will be today, I'm not quite sure, because everyone seems to be taking it very seriously. As we heard from Mark Cavendish, his main motivation was staying away from Mikkel Mørkøv, who was on his case, or Michael Morkov as he called him. Let's see. A little welcome here from the wine barrels, soon to be decanted, and then end up, of course, in a cellar of various dukes, including our own Marquis. John Harris-Bass will be back with us at the weekend. Sandy Dujardin takes to the ramp. Some look far more focused than others coming off this. As soon as I saw Varensholt waving to the crowd, I thought, well, that's the end of that. I'm just hoping that I'm hoping that Yves Lampard takes it more seriously. Certainly looks that is the case. I say taking it seriously. Riders have big strategy, and of course they have supporting roles as well. And Varensholt has been working very well for Alexander Kristoff during this race, and so he may well have burnt a few matches before we got to today, even though Sean has besmirched the efforts that lead-out men put in. They haven't done as much as the sprinters themselves, for his very words earlier on today. Here's Stefan Bissiger. This will be a good one, Sean.
Yes, I think this one will be a real serious effort here, and you know, a parkour that suits him definitely. So you know, he will be out for it, and that'll be the one of the first indicators.
I just finished my first tour. I followed Søren Varenskjold from the team UNOX Mobility to see how he takes corners, how the course is. I must say it's almost close to perfect conditions. It's a little bit overcast, so the sun is not as strong. 25 degrees, not too much wind. A lot of the road surface has been redone, so it's a very, very good time trial. No dangerous corners at all. The hill is actually, that's a tough cookie. There's quite a long part uphill, a little bit undulating on the top, so it's not straight into downhill. The downhill is an interesting part. It's about a little more than 2 kilometers, and we hit easy 90 kilometers an hour. 42 kilometers downhill, the average was just about 80 kilometers an hour average speed on the downhill. If you brake, you don't have to brake really at all almost. You touch the brakes a little bit, but really no braking. No dangerous turns, no dangerous corners. A very good TT circuit. And I still stick with my opinion. The GC riders will have the entire podium for themselves. I don't see a TT specialist on today's podium. It will be all the GC contenders. And back to the commentators.
Thank you, Yancy. Yves Lampard, equally not fully dialed in, but then again, he's took himself a crash, of course, in the Tour of Switzerland, missed out on the national champs, which is why he's quite far away from whatever might well have been for the Belgian. Not to be, I'm afraid, for him. Fred Wright doesn't look fully committed just for the time being either. However, Stefan Bissiger is about to come off the ramp, and so there's a certain, I guess, frisson that's going to be added to probably the next hour or so. Let us wait and see. And to carry you through that hour, we are joined by Sir Rob Hatch. I've decided to benight him.
Deary me, what have I done to deserve that?
Oh, just everything.
If Adam was here, he'd be picking you up, Rob, for that knighthood.
I know, the problem is you're talking to a bit of a Republican here, so anyway, let's gloss over that.
You can accept it with your fingers crossed behind your back about it.
Thank you very much. Here is Niels Pollitt on his way. German start. Hello everybody, hope you're well. A hugely important stage today, isn't it? A time trial clash in the Burgundy Vineyards. Stefan Bissiger coming up. However, next up is Nikias Arndt. Sean Kelly's going to go off for his lunch as well. Danny Rowe with me, Rob, and we'll be joined pretty soon. Why? There is Jasper Philipsen. It was hot for a while in the Belgian press last night. Wout van Aert saying that Mr. Philipsen had a pretty bad habit of chopping him up in the sprints.
Yeah, it was a big discussion amongst us on the breakaway this morning, but he has come out and apologised, which is very, very important, of course. But yeah, for me, it was black and white. He did, of course, deviate from his line and was disqualified from his second place over the line yesterday. But yeah, he would have been hot on the press for the wrong reasons last night.
Nice to see Philipsen come out in his own social media and apologise anyway. So we're back with Yves Lampard, former Belgian champion, time trial winner at the Tour de France and yellow jersey wearer. He briefly had it in the Tour de Suisse, didn't he? Those 2 days. Yellow jersey for him there after winning the opening time trial. Showed that he was in form. Was here, not worth mentioning his crash. There's also a possibility he might have to do quite a bit of riding if Remco Evenepoel can pull off something special. Here we go then. Stefan Bissiger, first of the big specialists to take it up today.
Yeah, and you can really see the intent to how he came off the starting ramp here. And for me, this will be our first key reference point when Bissiger crosses the line. Of course, he has been national time trial champion in the past. He was second this year to Stefan Kung, who will be another favourite to look out for today.
Bissiger on his way then. 25.3 kilometres distance today. 305 metres of climbing all the way through it. The twists and the turns, you started to see them well. And that tailwind sending speeds, we think later on, supersonic. Check of the numbers for Christophe Laporte. He's in the Peacock kit today. He's the European road champion. And here's the team that normally has to change its kit for the first Grand Tour of the year. They're back in their pink. EF Education Easy Post. Lots of twists and turns out of town, Danny, to get into your head, aren't there?
Yeah, and it'll show which riders, which teams have done the recce, because these are really important points where you can make up time. On the most technical parts of the course is where you can just chip away slightly if you know what's coming and how much speed you need to scrub off before making those turns. So we know Remco Evenepoel has recce'd this 5 times versus Jonas Vingegaard, who hasn't recce'd it at all, apart from this morning, of course, when he would have had the opportunity to ride the course. But then we were talking about it earlier, not having that time for that visualization, and the morning of a time trial is always so busy, and there will be a time in protocol for every single rider, which will be worked back from their starting time, but he wouldn't have had the chance to have much time for that visualization this morning.
With Sandy Dujardin here. Total Energie have been in a couple of breakaways. Apart from the ones that went to the end, there haven't been too many breakaways to speak of. It's been a strange old tour on that front. We might have to start getting used to sprint stages without breakaways, and if, as it's been suggested elsewhere, there might be a rethink on the length of sprint stages, certainly after how it's gone so far this week. Here is Laporte. A couple of crashes already. He's on the ground a lot this year, so has most of his team. It's been a rather unfortunate year for Visma-Lease Bike, who can't seem to buy a break. Did everything right last year. Not that they've been doing much wrong this year. Just hasn't fallen the right way for them. Laporte is on his way. Day to get through for him. And watch and hope that their leader, Jonas Vingegaard, can pull out a top time trial later on. Beautiful place, Mywhoosh, nice and sunny. Great memories from being there when Marcel Kittel won the sprint stage a few years ago. Glorious hills we're seeing surrounding them from those helicopter shots. And we'll have a chance to look round as we check on the times and warm up for the proper action, which is approaching for the general classification rise in a couple of hours. A very warm welcome back to all of you television viewers. Day 7 on the tour today. At the end of the way, we'll have been riding for a week. Nuit Saint-Georges to Gevrey-Chambertin. First time and a debut as a stage finish today. Never been a headliner on the TDF route before. And we're in Burgundy though, a place that's been visited by many a race. Afternoon, Adam.
Bonjour.
How are we?
I'm all right. Cocker, how are you doing?
Very, very well, thank you. Very well. This Axel Zingler. Not going to beat Lenny Martinez's team.
My favourite discipline, this. Love it.
Well, I was going to come to you for the specialist questions we've been getting through.
Fire away, Rob. I'm ready.
What would you like to talk about?
Absolutely anything. Just been having some very interesting chats with Orla in the green room.
Have you? You two time trial experts that you both are. What have the chats been? Have they been broadcastable, let's say?
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
but
wow,
it's not
that
about
makes a
time
change.
trialing, so everyone just take a break. You can enjoy the images and just get back to me on this. We've come up with the answers, but if you want to get in touch with your answers, you'll be shocked. Number 1, why doesn't glue stick to the inside of a bottle?
Oh, for goodness sake.
Go on then, what's the answer?
Why doesn't glue stick to the inside
Exactly.
of the bottle? Because it's
Goodness
wet.
Yeah, but why is it wet?
the inside of a bottle because it's got fluid in it.
No, completely wrong answer. Anyway, number 2, something to think about. If there's no oxygen in space and the sun is fire, how is that burning? It's another one. Come on. Right. Number 3. What does it smell like underwater?
You can't smell.
Yeah, but there might be a smell, but we'll never know. Isn't that bonkers?
Have you never been diving?
Yeah, but you can't smell, can you?
Well, there's your answer, isn't it?
No, but it must smell of something, Robin. Isn't that mind-blowing?
Fish, probably.
No, because that fish smells of fish. Like the universe that we're in now doesn't smell of people.
Can we stick to bike racing, please?
Hold on, number 4. Your skeleton is wet right now. When you think about your skeleton being wet, when we think about a skeleton, it's dry, but when it's wet...
Yeah, of course.
But isn't that bonkers?
Adam, hang on. Were you searched when you went into work today? You don't have any sort of mind-altering substances on you, do you?
I've just been having a little
I think we need to get some security on the door.
No, I've just been having a little think about stuff randomly, and these are the things that I've just been thinking about, and it's...
I know Orla lives in Amsterdam, but come on.
I know. So anyway, yeah, it's just these things that we've been having a chat about and just querying, really. We had to ring
You're obviously fixated on the early part of the time trial there.
Yeah, obviously we've been watching, but we had to ring Orla's husband to get the answer for
I'm going to give you a proper answer now, because we're going to have a new intermediate time. 20.4 seconds quicker. Thank you very much, Luke Durbridge, saving us from the path that Adam was taking us down. Bike racing, yes, a new faster time. That coming up, that first time check. 21 seconds quicker than Lenny Martinez, and if you're just tuning in and you haven't switched off, you're still with us. Lenny Martinez is the leader at the finish. He leads by 22 seconds, lovely number that, from Axel Zengler. Third place going to Davide Ballerini at the minute. In fact, just as I say that, that's about to change, because third place is going to go to Marijn Vandenberg at 46.7 seconds down. Well, for any more questions on Adam's theories, at Rob Hatch Sport on Instagram. What are your handles, Danny and Adam? Just so that any of the stranger questions can be directed to you directly.
I love them though, secretly. Adam Blythe 89 is mine.
Mine is Danny_Row_MBE.
Is it like, when you really think about it though, Rob, it does get under your skin a little bit?
Well, Dr. Brian Cox, if you're watching, please get in touch with Adam directly.
We had to call Orla's husband, who's a scientist, and get him to tell us why the sun burns. It's all nuclear, apparently, and all combustion stuff.
I mean, it goes straight over my head.
That
I'm
sounds
not gonna
technical,
lie.
that.
Exactly, it is very technical. So yeah, it's...
I
Good
think you
job
should
we
go and
can
have a
ride
word with
bikes.
producer Doug. In the meantime, Yves Lompard is 1 minute 9 down across the finish line. And look at that. Let's get on to geography. Where's Jono when you need him? That looks beautiful. Some
Another
great
one.
shots around here.
Who planted them trees?
Are you going to be like this all afternoon? Can I get up and come back for the finish?
Like, it's true though, isn't it? Like, how? Where? Who?
Carlton, where are you? Where are you? Come back.
These are valid questions.
They are, Adam. They are. Probably valid questions after a bottle of wine later on this evening, maybe. Let's go to the finish, because he's Binyam Girmay in the green jersey. Big leap forward in that competition yesterday, wasn't there, with the relegation of Jasper Philipsen. It's going to come in the time trial today, but of course that relegation really changing how the standings looked, didn't it? Because it was we're talking about swing overnight, haven't we? It was a 10-point swing to Binyam Girmay in that competition, finishing second instead of third, and he's now had a first, a second and a third in the sprints.
Yeah, he's leading with 149 points to Mads Pedersen's 111 in the green jersey competition, and I think he's got a really good chance within this tour. The sprint stages that we've got left are pretty undulating, and we know he does well on a harder sprint day as well, and the confidence that he would have got from that stage win, of course, so things are looking good for Girmay.
There's Stefan Bissiger, and we are watching him with intent. I think you'd expect if he was anywhere near his best for him to set that test time. You can see at the intermediate check, he's gone 17 seconds quicker than Luke Durbridge. The first intermediate check, that is, of the 3 that we're going to have.
It is, yeah. He's like Danny said earlier. You know, we'll get a proper indication of where the other riders should be at roughly. I think it's fair to say, Bissinger, when he's right on top of his game and he's in absolutely fine form and nothing goes wrong for him, he's one of the favourites. Or he has been for the last couple of years. He's been up there in time trials, hasn't he? But he's not been like he was a couple of years ago. I think it's fair to say. And ultimately, you know, the GC riders, the time trial specialists, which we're going to be looking at today, I think they're just like the GC guys. They're just so good at everything. So everything has got to be down to the T all the time. And I think for Bissinger, he'll be able to recover a little bit more for this race. We see a little bit of a close call there from Brian Coquard, but he got round just. But yeah, it will be very interesting to see how Bissinger gets on in terms of what he sets as a time at the finish. Ola's just brought us lunch in.
I was just about to say, she's brought something that hopefully that there are no substances in there that are going to sort of create any more of your wild theories.
Sorry, she's just
asking
asking
laughing in the background now.
I know. Do you want a quick chat with her? I'll put her on commentary one sec.
Yeah, come on, let's have her on. Ola, come and save us. Please come and save us.
I'm really, really sorry. I feel like I've got to apologise. I don't know. He just started asking me all these questions and it kind of blew my mind. So I indulged him and I shouldn't have done.
Well, thankfully, we've just gone to a commercial break on the television. Those of you who are still with us on Discovery Plus. Welcome, Ola, to the commentary box. And, well, she's been playing delivery driver here. She's got a big brown bag. He's got Adam's lunch in it. He's tucking in. What's he got for lunch and what have you got for lunch?
Well, I've given him some lunch and he doesn't know if it's his, so he might be eating Robbie's.
No, I think
by
he's
mistake.
eating mine.
I brought a whole bag of lunch. They've got to sort
He's
it out.
on a roll today, isn't he? What have you done to him? I mean, did he stay up all night watching the election and something, and he's sort of completely tired and gone delirious?
What do you think? Adam Blythe sitting up watching the election?
No, but I'm not shocked that even for Adam's standard he's so outrageous today that I just wonder.
I think we've all got sort of mid-race delirium already. I swear to goodness, I'm watching through in the green room, and like most people at home, probably thinking you're just sitting in a living room with everybody, having a random chat, watching the bike racing. It's a lot of fun, I've got to say, but Rob, I'm very, very glad you're here, adding some professionalism and technical detail to proceedings. Adam's giving me a terrible look now, but it's true, Adam, let's be honest.
I'm not sure about that. Time trials aren't my strong point. Don't talk to time trials and technical stuff. Anyway, bon appetit all. I can see you're desperate to get that lunch down, yeah?
Merci beaucoup. Enjoy the rest of the time trial.
Thanks. And save those substances in Amsterdam without bringing them for Adam next time, please. In the meantime, this is Luke Durbridge.
Just spilt my lunch everywhere. Oh, God.
That's karma.
Shall we try and bring it back to the centre? 3 time checks today. They actually squeeze together, aren't they? You've got the long section on the flat, then you've got a time check at the bottom of the climb, one at the top of the climb and one coming off it to see how everybody's gone on that period where we heard from Marco Pinotti before the race, talking about where the difference is going to be made. Durbridge at the minute is on for the fastest time. Let's see if he can bring it home. He's currently 16 seconds ahead of Lenny Martinez. It would put him in the lead now, Danny, but you can't imagine that it would give him the lead all day the way it's going.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've got the big 4, haven't we? And it's the start times are the reverse on our general classification. But you could see the intent to his ride and the difference between him going for this as a result in his own right versus the other riders that are just trying to get through this and make the time cut.
With Bissinger here coming up the hill at the saddle. Great crowds up here, and as we saw, the ropes have been put there to try and keep everybody in check once the Burgundy's been down later on.
Woo! Let's go.
You're watching Luke Durbridge on stage 7 of this Tour de France. Louis Saint-Georges to Gevrey-Chambertin today. Time trial, 25.3 kilometers long. and Durbridge passing through the centre of the beautiful Burgundy vineyards. Just like in 2021, it's wine trial time at the Tour. This time taking in the roads of Burgundy. We've had a birthday out there today as well. Alexander Kristoff turning 37, a very happy birthday to him. And it's a birthday in the car as well. Yvon Le Danois, 55 today, sports director from Arcaire B&B Hotels. And this is Luke Durbridge, who was absolutely delighted for his mate yesterday, Dylan Groenewegen. And after we saw the reaction from the team, knowing that there will have been relief and delight. They have their win now, and that changes the whole tour for Jayco Alula.
Yeah, of course it does, and it was so nice, wasn't it, to see those images, specifically of Luke Durbridge after the line. He was just delighted for, you know, the whole team and what they put into, you know, a result like a win at the Tour de France. It's huge. And I actually was listening to some kind of post-race interviews yesterday about Dylan Groenewegen and how he's really worked on his versatility actually as a bike rider, and how he never ever used to train on the uphills, and how he's put a lot into that. So it was great for him and the whole of the team yesterday.
The brand new Belgian champion, Tim Wellens, with Drie Kleur on his back. Quite the achievement for Wellens to become Belgian time trial champion.
He's not looked like he's on his best form though, I don't think, this race. He's not looked like he has done in the classics and in races beforehand. I don't know if there might be a bit with him at the minute where he might have been a little bit poorly. We heard about Tadej having COVID. Tim Wellens might have been one of them. Or he could be doing a Wout Powell sort of ride where he comes into his own that last week where he's just been held back that little bit more. But he's definitely not looked the Tim Wellens we've seen in the last 18 months, let's say.
It's interesting because his first Grand Tour in 2 years, actually. Just ridden since the Tour in 2022. Here's Luke Durbridge then coming to the finish. Time is green, and it will stay green as he crosses the line. But he's looking for every second. Look at that effort face on. The man who's in the hot seat on the left-hand side on Tour debut is about to vacate it, because Luke Durbridge will be taking over. Here is the man from Australia, Jayco Alula, yesterday having stage victory with Dylan Groenewegen. Luke Durbridge, licensed to give his all today. Doesn't always get to do that in Grand Tours. Today he's gone 26 seconds quicker than Lenny Martinez.
I think it's fair to say he left absolutely everything on the road there, didn't he? You can tell by his body language coming into the finish. His head kept ducking down, that grimace on his face. Good ride though.
One of the top early times. And that's going to be the benchmark as we say goodbye to Martinez. Is this the man who's going to beat it?
So far, so good. Went through the first time check up, didn't he? Not far off that second time check now.
Oh. Niels Pollitt in the meantime going quickly. Interesting here, you wondered if he'd be given the freedom to have a go.
I think with a day like this, Rob, it's only, what, half an hour? The time trial, really. It's not going to take that much out of you in terms of these guys going full gas or going near full gas. I think they need it as well. Keep the engine ticking a little bit, keep it going, press on a little bit, open the legs up. As I said, it's only half an hour. The warm up beforehand, then a warm down after. But I think majority of these riders will need to squeeze on today just so they're ready for tomorrow as well. It's not just going to be a walk in the park.
Well, there won't be much danger. It looks like Pollitt having to sit in the hot seat physically anyway, because even if he does continue to set the times he's setting, Bissiger is beating them quite comfortably. 24 seconds quicker there, straight after Pollitt, who'd already taken 14 seconds out of Durbridge there. Seems that Durbridge himself won't be getting too comfortable in that big chair. In the meantime, this is Raul Garcia Pierna, left-hand side in the red jersey. He is one of the stronger Spanish time trialists on the scene at the minute. And you can see that for Christophe Laporte, it's about getting the day done. Garcia Pierna riding for the French team now, but he's from just outside of the centre of Madrid, a place called Tres Cantos, north of Madrid. Brother rides still for the second division Spanish team, Can Farmer. L'Abeille Saint-Vivant doesn't look very vivant at the moment. Does look like it might be in the process of being restored, though. Views from there will be pretty, won't they?
Very. Probably turned into a restaurant or something like that in the region that they're in. Bit of vino with it.
Well, just a bit of that around here.
You can see the local council here as well, Rob. They've obviously come in. You can see Bissinger's done a recon there, not getting off of his tri-bars, staying on and around one corner, onto the skis on that corner, but he is not holding back down this descent. I was just about to say, you can see that the Tour de France has come to town because all new road surfaces, down this descent especially, new white markings on the road. So once the Tour de France leaves, at least the local people have a nice new road. Bike riders, nice smooth road to train on as well.
Do you know what I read actually before the Tour de France talking about the roads? Apparently there's a group of people, I think they're called something like the Eraser Men, who go ahead of the Tour and get rid of any kind of rude words, shall we say, the stage beforehand. So following the Tour to make sure there's no rude words on the road. So I thought that was very nice indeed.
Otherwise known as spoil sports, no?
Depends what way you're looking at it, doesn't it, Rob?
Well, Tim Wellens spoiled the hopes and dreams of many a Belgian time trialist the other week. It was a 40-kilometre course in a place that Adam knows well, a place called Bausch.
Beautiful little town.
Victorious town for Mr. Blythe back in the day.
That was a good win, that one. I'll even blow my own trumpet there. That was a good win.
We'll let you do it, eh? Well, Tim Wellens beat Alex Seegaard, very good young time trialist from Belgium, and Bruno Herregots, who won a time trial very recently. No Wout van Aert, no Remco Evenepoel in the field, however. First win of the season for Wellens, and a first elite national title of any kind. So, brilliant news for Wellens, who will be very proud to wear that Belgian jersey. Also, a first time trial win of any sort for Wellens for 5 whole years.
Wow. He was always a solid time trialer, though, wasn't he? In, you know, Eneco Tour, which was, what's it called now? I'm not even sure.
Tour.
That's it, yeah, which used to be the Eneco Tour. He was always up there in there. Tour of Belgium, he was always up there trying to get the overall in second, thirds, fourth. He's always very, very solid. What you see on the road is typically what you see in time trials as well. Well placed all the time.
This is Hugo Page, part of the lead out for Biniam Girmay, across in a deficit of 112.
Bissinger's not hanging about around these though, Rob. I mean, if you saw him on that descent down there, he wasn't hitting the brakes. He's obviously done on his recon. We were chatting about recons before, and was it Remco that's done it 5 times? Yeah, you can see why when they get onto these downhills, if you can save a second here, second there. Lost a bit of time though.
Making it quicker. Now, you're talking about Remco Evenepoel. What about this Melissa bike? We've had a bit more of a glimpse into what they might be preparing. Here is their performance equipment head with Hannah Walker.
An individual time trial is so important. All of the details, the innovation, particularly for a day like this when we're in the biggest sporting event in the world, in the Tour de France. Jenko Drost, you're the head of performance engineering. You look at just behind the fleet of bikes here, and particularly focusing on Jonas Vingegaard. What changes has he made to the bike for this particular time trial?
Well, yeah, from last year, this year we have a new bike. So yeah, that's mainly the biggest change. So yeah, some of the shapes changes, and yeah, it's just it's a new P5 from Cervelo. So that's the biggest change, I would say. Yeah, for this time trial, just again optimize this year his position. Yeah. Just optimized all components on the bike, yeah, just to get it perfect for this time, for this Tour de France, actually. Yeah.
I see as well a new saddle that all of the riders have opted to go for. What is the thinking behind that?
Yeah, well, it started with ergonomic because yeah, you want of course the best fit saddle so you can push the most power. So it's yeah, in terms of shape, it's the most optimum saddle for us.
Different colors of the bike, and it's striking to me that Jonas's bike is all black. You don't have the iconic yellow from Visma Lease bike.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, well, we try to optimize the weight on the bike, and yeah, of course, the paint is weight. So yeah, the less paint you have, the less weight you have. So that's yeah, just try to minimize that for Jonas, because yeah, he's a light rider, so every gram counts.
What's the difference in weight in comparison to this P5 and the bike that Jonas will race on today?
Probably keep that to ourselves, because yeah, that's yeah, we'll not tell all our secrets. So it's yeah, well, it's enough to do it like this.
Enough to do it. We're always innovating. You come from an engineering background. When engineering meets cycling, it's a good combination. And Jonas Vingegaard will